Hi, it's Jordan. So, I have one subscriber. It's my best friend, so it doesn't really count, but it's fun. Today's video, I thought I would talk about my diagnosis story. So, I wrote like a timeline out in my bullet journal to make things a little bit easier for myself. Talking about this because there's kind of a lot that happened. So, I guess we'll get started. So when I was little, like really little, I always had stomach pain all the time. I thought it was normal. I thought, that's just part of life. I didn't really know anything else. I didn't really think much about it. My mom didn't really believe me most of the times because I only brought up my stomach pain when it was time to clean my room. So you can imagine how well that went over with my mom. Anyways, so my stomach just kind of hurt all the time, pretty much after every meal. And as I got older, I think maybe like 12, 13, I started really talking to my mom about it. I told her that my stomach would hurt after breakfast every day with my cereal and milk. And so we thought maybe it was gluten intolerance. So we went off of milk, and I think I went to almond milk or soy milk or something in the beginning. We went off of dairy, and that didn't really help. I was always really hot all the time, and I was bloated and constipated, and I really couldn't figure out what was going on. I mean, I didn't really think much of it because I didn't know anything else. I thought it was just normal. I thought that was just the way that it is, So one day when we were going to the doctor, my pediatrician, my mom took me, I think it was just for like a wellness check, like a regular checkup. And, I was telling my doctor that my stomach hurt all the time. We went off of dairy, nothing happened, all of my symptoms. And then she suggested that we get a blood test to check for tissue transglutamase. Really long word, I know. It's like the marker for if you have celiac or not. It's not a definitive marker because it's just the blood test. It basically tells you if there's a strong possibility if you have celiac disease or not. We got the results back, and the tissue transglutamase marker, the levels, I think it only tests up to around 40, I think is where it caps off. It's either 30 or 40. The normal range is less than 19. Weak positive is 20 to 30, and positive is 30.01 and up. Mine were 56. So there was a really high possibility that I had celiac disease. So my doctor told me to go to the hospital and get an EGD, or an esophagogastroduodenoscopy. I can't believe I said that right. So my mom and I, before getting the EGD, we made an appointment at the hospital just to talk with the gastroenterologist there. And they basically wanted to run more tests on me to see if I was healthy enough to get an EGD. So I got my EGD September 19th of 2017. I was a freshman. This is the beginning of my freshman year in high school. So when I went to the hospital for the EGD, they put me in a room to get an IV for the surgery, and the lady, she was trying her best, but she kept missing my vein, and so she poked me like 5 times, and it was really painful. So that was not a good start to that day. It was not a good start. And then I had the EGD. It was kind of scary. They put me to sleep, blah, blah, blah. And then when I woke up, after getting a test to see if I have celiac disease, if I can eat gluten, the hospital gave me goldfish to wake up, which has gluten in it. So that was really stupid. I don't know why they gave me a glutinous snack after I just got a test to see if I can even eat gluten. I don't know. It was weird. Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't get my results back until December of 2017. It usually doesn't take that long to get your results back, but I mean, I was dealing with personal stuff, so took a bit longer. So on December 1st, 2017, I went to the hospital to go get my results back. And basically, my mom and I went into the room, and the doctor came in, and she told me that I did, in fact, have celiac disease. And honestly, this appointment, it was awful. It was really hard for me because, first of all, I just got told that I had a chronic illness, a life-changing chronic illness, and the doctor just didn't seem she was a little insensitive. She definitely didn't mean to be, but for me, who had just, you know, been given this life-changing news, she didn't present it very gently. You know, I asked her, okay, am I ever gonna be able to eat my favorite foods again? And she just said, nope, you're gonna have this forever. You're never gonna be able to eat gluten again, blah, blah. And I started crying. You know, I laid down on the little parchment paper or whatever bed that they have. Parchment paper? Really? And I started crying. I zoned out. I wasn't listening to anything she was saying. My mom started talking to her. I couldn't listen to it. And then a little while later, this nutritionist lady came in. She gave me this packet. It's basically the worst packet on the entire planet. It tries to tell you, you know, what you're supposed to do, what gluten is, how you're supposed to manage, but it's really awful. It's awful. So basically, she did a pretty bad job. I was crying on the table. My mom was really confused, like trying to ask her, okay, well, what do I feed her tonight? My mom and I didn't know what to do. I'm pretty sure we went and got ice cream after. I can't remember exactly, but I remember doing something special afterwards because I was a mess. I was crying so much. I couldn't process anything that the doctor had told me because I checked out. So all of this happened around Christmas time. I got the EGD results December 1st. My mom and I decided to not start going fully off gluten until after the holidays because it was just way too hard to manage that. So January comes around and that's when we start to figure it out, trying to figure out what I can eat, what I can't eat. My mom bought a whole bunch of gluten-free food, way more than we needed, and I tried everything and it was all awful. There was not really anything that I liked. I was really upset about everything. I couldn't eat my favorite food, just pasta. Bagel and cream cheese. I still haven't found a good bagel. So basically, January onward was just figuring out what I can and cannot eat. And I wasn't 100% gluten-free until this past fall. And I'll tell you why later. So then somewhere in 2018, I'm not exactly sure when, my mom and I got an alternative doctor. She is a naturopath, I think, naturopathic doctor. We decided to see her because she focuses on the whole picture rather than just the gluten. So when I went to talk to her, she asked me about, you know, all this, obviously the symptoms of the gluten, but then how I was feeling emotionally. And she's the one who helped me figure out that I had anemia. She had me get blood tests for other things like vitamin D, thyroid, iron, and she also put me on a probiotic. So basically she helped me get off of gluten. I was off of everything but sourdough bread. Now the reason that I stayed on sourdough is because my mom and I had read somewhere that the Celiac Foundation approved sourdough bread for people who aren't severely celiac. Now, we found out later that's not true. I don't even think the Celiac Foundation approved that at all. I don't know where we saw that, but I stayed on sourdough. It was a good crutch. You know, it's really hard to change your diet up completely without having one thing to fall back on. So I had sourdough bread. You know, I could eat all of my other gluten-free stuff, but I had one bread that I felt like was real. All of 2018 and 2019 was getting my numbers down. I met with my doctor again and the tissue transglutamase was down to 42 or something like that. And then I met with her again and it was 34. So they were slowly going down, but not as fast as she wanted to, and it was because of this sourdough bread. So this past fall of 2019, I finally went off of sourdough bread. This was really hard for me because I felt like it was the last real food that I could eat, which is really dramatic, I know. But it was really hard for me to go completely off of gluten. But anyway, when I went back to my alternative doctor, my most recent results, my tissue transglutamase was 24, which is amazing. Just a reference point, the normal range is less than 19, so I'm getting pretty close. Anyway, to backtrack a little bit, this past summer of 2019, my family and I went to Oregon for a family reunion sort of thing, and I had a gluten attack. So I wanted to talk to you guys, meaning my one subscriber, what a gluten attack is, for me at least. So basically, we were having pasta one evening for dinner. My mom had made a completely separate gluten-free pasta for me, separate from the regular pasta that everybody else was eating. And then there was an Alfredo sauce that my uncle was making. Now, somewhere in the process of making this sauce, he decided that it was too thin and added wheat flour to it without telling anybody. I don't think he meant to do this at all, but I put the sauce on my pasta and I started eating it and I felt awful. I asked somebody if it was gluten-free and my uncle said, oh, I added flour to it. I'm out of breath. Basically, once I heard that, I sprinted up the stairs and everybody was kind of looking at me like, what are you doing? I sprinted up the stairs to the bathroom and I felt so sick to my stomach. My stomach was hurting so bad and I felt like I was gonna throw up. I felt like I needed to poop, but I also couldn't poop. It's a weird feeling. I was really gassy. You know, I felt like I had to burp. Basically, my intestinal system was just contracting and moving because this substance that I'm basically allergic to had just entered my body and it was freaking out. It was awful. I had to walk around. That's one thing that I have to do when I eat gluten is I have to walk around. I can't sit down. I can't curl up into a ball no matter how much I want to. I have to walk around because that loosens up the gas inside so that it relieves the pain. So basically, I was in the bathroom for a long time and my mom was helping me try to feel better, and then I felt disgusting, so I walked out to the beach and I threw up in the ocean. And that's how that celiac attack went. So now my most recent visit with my alternative doctor, my levels are 24, which is really cool, really close to 19. I'm really excited about that. So basically, I'm just continuing to stay off of gluten, to manage as best as I can. I'm getting pretty good at it. So that's my diagnosis story. I just wanted that to be out there for anyone who feels the same way I do and who possibly doesn't know what's going on. If you're a teenager like me and you go on the internet and you search living with celiac as a teenager, there's a lot of middle-aged people who are talking about their life with celiac, and there's not really resources for teenagers who have it. So that's why I'm hoping this will help. Even if you're not a teenager and you're watching this because you know a teenager with celiac, I really hope that I can help you. I'm gonna make more videos. I think I'm gonna do like some cook with me's, gluten-free, maybe a day in my life. I'm also thinking about doing sort of like maybe a quarantine day in my life because it is currently quarantine in Arizona right now. If you're seeing this, hopefully somebody is. Let me know if you want me to make more videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.